Welcome to the Gyrl Podcast, the show where purpose meets inspiration. Each week, I sit down with incredible individuals who open up about their real life journeys, the wins, the setbacks, and the lessons in between. Whether you're navigating career moves, entrepreneurship, or personal growth, you're in the right place. I'm Kyra Mitchell Lewis, your host, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's glow up together. Welcome back to the Gyrl Podcast. I'm Kyra. All right, let's welcome Cindy to the show. Welcome, Cindy.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Awesome. Well, why don't we get started by having you tell our audience listening or watching who you are and what you do.
Sure. So I'm Cindy Baker. I'm a productivity coach and ADHD specialist, and I help entrepreneurs and other creative professionals kind of overcome that sense of overwhelm, manage their time and their energy and their focus so they can grow their business without burnout.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That was very loaded. So many good things in there because as a workingpreneur and also like someone who works in a creative space, like I felt that. Let's start by talking about how do you help some people who are entrepreneurs, like Cindy mentioned, other creative professionals out there who are listening or watching. I'm sure you're going to be able to take some tips away from today's conversation as well. But what do you do? What do you tell somebody when that immediate like overwhelm sets in? They're like, I've got so many things to do. Cindy, help me.
Yeah. Well, there's not one magic phrase that I say, but I do help them prioritize, beat procrastination, get over distractions, all of those kind of things, and stop getting overcommitted in their schedule. And a lot of times people just need help getting clarity and then getting started. Getting started is half the battle.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I
yeah.
think I'd love to talk about that more because I think I find that so interesting. Like, I know a lot of people who struggle with the getting started part. Like, I'm a person who, like, once I set my mind to something, it's like I'm doing it and I'm
Yeah.
starting it, whatever. But I know there are a lot of people who struggle with the first step. Are there things that you sort of like tips that you can give them? Because I know sometimes people don't start, whether it's a project, it's a business, or just in it, like we'll take the project route. Sometimes people are just afraid. Like
Yeah.
they don't know what to do.
Yeah. And I think understanding why you're not starting is a good
Mm-hmm.
place to begin, because people have this mistaken notion that they have to feel motivated to do
Mm-hmm.
something. And I always tell my clients, waiting for motivation is never a good strategy. It's
Right.
not a strategy. And so, relying on your emotions like that is just not a good idea. And when you take action, what happens is the momentum starts to kick in, and then a lot of times you start to feel motivated.
Mm-hmm.
So getting started, one of the things we do is break things down into the smallest steps. What is the smallest little action that I can take where it's just ridiculously easy, or I'd be
Yeah.
guaranteed a win. I'll give you an example. Like, let's say you had to write something and it required a lot of concentration and you just you don't feel motivated, but you could break it down and reverse engineer it to the point where
Mm-hmm.
you say, okay, I'm just going to walk across the room and I'm going to sit in the chair by my computer. I can do that, And so you sit down and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
good.
Step one.
That's a
Yeah.
win, I'm
Yes.
going to turn on the computer. I can do that. I can pull up the document. I can find the last sentence that I wrote. I can
Mm-hmm.
write the next sentence. You just talk yourself into
Mm-hmm.
the next tiny little step, because I think sometimes we look at the big thing and that's
Yeah.
where the overwhelm comes in. But if you can break things down into little tiny actions, it isn't as scary.
Yeah, I love that because I think that is really true that people are like, I'm not motivated. And I'm like, well, if you really think about things, are you really motivated to do most of the things that you have to do? Like if you really think about, like I think a lot about like, just working every day. Like, I mean, am I motivated to go work? I mean, would I rather not? True. I'd rather just chill and like do things that I want to do all day. But it's like you have to take, you've got to, I like the way you said like the reverse engineering of like looking at almost like the finish line, right? And then backing out of it. Because I had my sister actually told me that a couple of weeks ago because we were having a conversation about cleaning her closet. And
Hmm.
she said, I really, really need to like clean my closet and donate some clothes. And I was like, okay, well then just go in. Because like I was thinking from like how I would approach it. It's for me, it's like, oh, then I just go in there and I start and I don't stop until I'm finished. And she was like, yeah, but it's like really the starting for me. So she said, I really have to like see the end. Like I have to see the end first. And then that's going to help me to get to like the actually start. And at first I thought to myself, I didn't say this out loud. I was like, oh, that's weird. But now that you mention it and the way you explain it in your example, I was like, that makes sense. Now I understand what she was saying. I understand it. Cindy, do you think discipline plays a role in, people like not being able to start or people getting distracted in their days?
Yes and no, because I think that if we were relying on discipline or willpower, that's not enough because it's really about focus. And,
Okay.
I just wrote a book, Focus to Fortunes, because people think it's about time management or discipline, but really it's about managing your focus and figuring out what are the high priority tasks, when
Hmm.
is my energy level the highest, and matching those, and then just focusing on one thing at a time.
Ooh, I like
Because
that.
a disciplined person, you can grit your teeth and kind of make yourself do something, but if you're trying to reach a goal, that strategy isn't going to last long term. So you need
Mhm.
something that's going to work in the long
Hmm.
run. And
Yeah,
that's
you
where
need something
the
that's
focus comes
sustainable,
in.
right? Yeah. All right,
Mhm.
so let's talk about that, the book. So what inspired you to write the book to start?
There's a ton of time management books out there, but I have ADHD and I work with a lot of people that have
Mhm.
ADHD, and we experience time differently than other people.
Okay. Hmm.
And everything is now or not now. And there's nothing in between.
Okay.
So I used to be a teacher. And so you would tell a kid, this is due in a week. And their brain goes, oh, that's not now. I don't have to think
Mhm.
about it.
Right.
And then and then it's like the day of or the night before, and they're like, oh my gosh, and we try to do everything right before a deadline, which is a very stressful way to live,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah.
And so the whole idea is that if you're an entrepreneur, the book is interesting to anybody who kind of has a busy brain and is doing
Hmm.
a lot of different things, but it's written particularly for entrepreneurs. And if
Okay.
you're an entrepreneur, you have to be doing revenue producing activities or you're not going to be making any money in your
Hmm.
business. So
Hmm.
the whole idea is if you manage your focus, you're going to get you're going to get more money. You're going to do better in your business. So that's where
Hmm.
the title came from. But
Hmm.
it's really just because traditional time management strategies don't work for a
Hmm.
lot of people who are entrepreneurs. I mean,
Right.
whether they have ADHD or not, they probably still have some of those tendencies.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of why I
Yeah.
wrote it.
Yeah, because then a lot of times people want to work on like the fun things, right? And the fun things in your business often aren't the things that are driving revenue.
Yeah, I mean, it's the
And
low-hanging fruit.
yeah.
It's easy. I mean, you sit down and you wake up and you're like, I want to conquer the day. And
Mhm.
then, well, let me just check my email first. And the next thing you know, you're watching puppy yoga videos for 30 minutes.
They've gone down. I've lost you to the rabbit hole. You're in the
Yeah,
rabbit hole.
I
Get
mean,
out. Yeah.
oh yeah, and the rabbit hole. I mean, let's say I was going to research for the book.
Hmm.
I start looking something up and I'm on Google and then I see like a news story and oh, it's got this headline. I'm like, what? I got to read that, and I start reading it and then it reminds me of a friend and I'm like, oh, I forgot to answer her email. I got to do it right
Mhm.
now because if I don't, I'm going to forget.
Yeah, yeah.
Switch over to email and then you know what happens. It's like
Yeah.
all these unread
Well, they
emails
just
and
start
they
looking at
just
all
start
the
yelling at
emails.
me, read me now.
Yes. Now, Cindy, do you find that it's helpful? Because I know a lot of people who only reserve certain times of the day where they check their email. Like they might check it in the morning. And then a lot of people I've noticed, like entrepreneurs that I've worked with or been on my show, like they'll have a message that kicks back to you that's pretty much like, I don't check my email. I check my email like once a day. So
Mhm.
if you're a client and this is an emergency, feel free to call me or text me. But if you're just inquiring, and they'll have like a list of things that you could be inquiring about. And so
Mhm.
then that way I'm like, wow, that's like smart, because then you don't feel the pressure of someone saying they emailed you and or
Yeah, I
feeling
think that's a
the,
great idea. And
yeah.
I do suggest that to people. I also say, don't check email until you are going to do something with the email. Like, don't just read it and go, I don't have time to deal with that. I'm going to do it later.
Mm-hmm,
Because that's what we do.
mm-hmm,
Block off time, and then each email, you either delete it, you respond to it, you file it, label it, whatever, depending on what service you
yeah,
have. I think that's a great idea.
yeah,
Another good habit is to not read your email first thing in the morning.
mm-hmm,
Because what you're doing is you're
mm-hmm,
responding, you're planning your day around someone else's agenda.
mm-hmm,
Because you're responding or reacting to whatever is in the
yeah,
email.
yeah,
Instead, you take charge of your day.
mm-hmm,
And so
yeah.
that's another good tip
That's a
there.
great one, because yeah, because that you it's ruined your whole day almost if it's like
Sometimes, yeah.
not a, yeah. 'Cause I can remember.
Unless it says you want $1 million,
Mhm.
then
Right. Yeah. Then it's like, work whose emails? I don't care about your email. But you're
yeah.
right, because I remember at my last job, and this was just before I got more like focused on like in the morning, it's my quiet time, it's my prayer time, it's my 30 minutes, and then I work out. And then I come take a shower. Then I deal with all that stuff with the email.
Yeah.
But I remember like in my old job, because I had like the office app like on my phone, it would immediately be there, and I'd see the number, like I click it, and then I go, oh no, okay, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. And like now at the job I'm at now, I only have the web version, so it takes me like, it's not easy for me to get to, so I have to like go into Google and like pull it up. And I told myself, I was like, I'm not putting that app on my phone this time. Like if I can't get
Mhm.
to it like at 6:30 later, no, I'm not checking after 7 o'clock. And then
Yeah, I mean, it's about setting boundaries.
yeah, for sure.
Before I was a full-time entrepreneur, I was a teacher, and all the other teachers put the school email on their phone. And 19 years without putting the school email on my phone.
Nice.
And I
Yeah.
never let any parents know my home phone number,
Yeah, yeah, it's smart.
because
Yeah.
I was very, now sometimes I would open up my laptop and look at the school email on my school
Mm-hmm.
computer
Mm-hmm.
at home, but I didn't have it dinging my phone all the time.
Right. Yeah.
So I could check it when I wanted to instead of it just
Yes.
interrupting.
Yes.
So
Which
yeah.
is the smart thing to do. I mean, yeah, because so many people just like let that control, like you said, it controls them and it sets their day to maybe not be so good. And also, if they had a list of things that they wanted to work on, now it's like disrupted that whole list of what they hope to accomplish, because now they're chasing behind something that probably isn't like you said, if it's not saying you want $1 million or I want you to come, do this thing, like it's probably something that can wait.
Right, exactly.
So let's talk about also like people being overcommitted to things, overcommitted in their
Yes.
schedules. What do you see? What's your
Yes,
experience there?
some people don't know how to say no. I think there are a lot of reasons, but three big ones that I talk about a lot are people pleasing. All of us want to be liked by people, right? But some people, especially ADHD people, they just do things for other people when they ask them to, even if it's at great personal expense, like being
Mm-hmm.
exhausted, because a lot of times they've learned to jump through hoops to please people to kind of make up for the struggles that they've had with ADHD, like forgetting things or
Mm-hmm.
interrupting or being late or, and so they're just
Mm-hmm.
bending over backwards trying to please people. I think, and being impulsive sometimes. People just say yes, knee-jerk reaction without really thinking through
Yeah.
all of the things they already said yes to, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And then some people just have FOMO, they just,
Yeah.
oh, I just want to do everything, They just have this fear of missing out. And so they think, again, it goes back to not having an accurate sense of time, but they think unrealistically about their time. And they think, well, I can cram this one more thing in because it sounds really fun, or I'm going to hurt her feelings if I say no, or
Yeah.
they just habit say yes
Mm-hmm.
instead of really thinking through realistically,
Right. Like what makes
about her
sense.
time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I think you said a lot of great and important things, but I do think like setting boundaries is like number one, because if you establish a boundary and it's okay to tell people, right? So for
Hmm.
people who may feel like I don't want someone to be upset with me, like it's okay for you to say, well, you know what? I'm trying this new thing where I don't overcommit myself. I don't say yes to everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, and it like trust me, it works because it works. I mean, I sort of went through that journey myself, and when I started in therapy, and I was just like, well, I want to have my time. Like it's time for me. I gotta think about me
Mhm.
first, and I will do some things, but I won't do all things. And I tell people, and I've sort of been living by that since like 2018. I mean, obviously the
Yeah.
pandemic helped out a lot because people were like not hanging out, and then I think a lot of people became more like, yeah, I don't need to see you all the time. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
good, but we don't have to hang out like
Yeah.
all the time. And I think like, it's just about conversations and just having like respect for people and their boundaries. Because I like say this all the time. Like I have a few friends who I'm like really good friends with. Like I don't get to see them all the time. When I do see them, it's like, we just pick up like we never left each other. But I'm like, you can also find other ways. Like Zoom is still a real thing. Like a virtual hangout is still exists. I have a friend who like works for Google, and she has this period of time right before they did this really big trade show, and she was just like, I can't hang out. Like I want to see you, but I can't hang. I was like, girl, you do not have to explain that to me. I know you're busy.
Hmm.
We did a Google hang before she got extremely busy. And then I said, okay, and once you're done with that, then I'm gonna give you like a month to sort of recoup your life and get everything back to, like the way you want it. And then
Hmm.
then let's hang out then. But it's just that feeling of like, because we had a conversation, because I knew that she had to focus and prioritize some other things, I didn't feel like, oh my God, she's hurt my feelings because she doesn't want to hang out.
Right. Because you had good communication. And I think that, what you're saying is important because when you say yes to everybody, then you're saying no to yourself.
Mhm.
And I think that's important. And, I always tell my clients the best thing you can give other people is a healthy you. And
Yeah,
it's not selfish to take care of yourself.
not in the least bit.
And, I'm a productivity coach, and you can't be productive if you're exhausted.
Oh my gosh, that's the truth. Like
Yeah.
it's so true. And I think like people, I don't know, I guess people just get caught, like you said, a lot of times it's the FOMO, and it's just in that moment, it's like I guess like their brain is telling them, no, you better say yes. You don't want to make them mad, or you don't want to miss, they may not invite you again if you say no. And I think like to your point, it is about very much about like communicating. It's very much about choosing you and thinking about like what you need for yourself. Because, well, as when I first started therapy, as my therapist told me, she was like, so you're pouring out to all these other people, who's pouring back into you?
Mm, yeah,
And I was,
exactly.
yeah, and I was like, no one. I was like, my cup is empty. And that was sort of like the best thing that ever, happened to me, was like almost reaching like the almost getting to burn. Well, I think I was already in burnout because I always tell people this story. You know that thing like where they throw the balls in the air and you're just like running from side to side trying to catch all the balls. Like that's how I felt like in 2018, where before I like started to establish boundaries and tell people no and like,
Yeah.
you know, make that time for myself. So I think like what we're saying to people is like, it is perfectly fine for you to choose you is you have
Yeah.
to pour and give back to yourself because then you won't, like Cindy just said, like if you're tired and you can't be productive, you can't grow your business, you can't like grow relationships, like you can't do all the things that like you really, the places where you really want to nurture. Like you got to nurture you first.
Yeah. It's great advice.
All
Great.
right. I just thought like that one because that's what you see like over, and I think too, like especially over commitment from entrepreneurs. And I will say like for those who are workingpreneurs, I think it's even worse because when we feel like, and I'm saying this because I feel like I'm definitely not doing this anymore. But when I first started Glow Up Girl, and I've had a full-time job, which I still do, but I was saying yes to everything. I was like, yep, we're gonna do this. I was like, yep. As soon as I was like closing the laptop on the one job, I was like getting on calls with people for like Glow Up Girl because I was like, no, I got to do these things because if I don't do these things, then they may never give me a chance. And it wasn't. It probably took me a good solid 9 months, and then I was burnt. I was like tired. I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I started my business on the side when I was a teacher and I couldn't do it at work. I mean, I wasn't allowed to use my school computer for another
Mhm.
job, and so
Of
I didn't
course.
want to get in trouble. And plus I had kids in my room most of the time. And, if you know any teachers, we had very little downtime at
Yeah.
all. And when you have it, you're in a meeting or you're trying to cram down your lunch or
Mhm.
so I was doing things before school, after school, and weekends, my spring break,
Mhm.
and I had to learn that as well. And one of the things that helped was just to kind of divide things up into seasons. Like I
Mhm.
wished I could have done everything, to market my business all at the same time, the same
Mhm.
year. But I couldn't do that, so I would just work on one big project at a
Mhm.
time. This has actually been the first year that I've done this full time. So
Mhm.
it's coming up on,
Awesome.
May is when our school is out. So I took a little early retirement last May.
Okay.
And so there have been all these projects that I've tried to complete, like writing the book,
Mhm.
and I just had to put all those things on hold and just do what I could do and just be patient,
Mhm.
knowing that eventually one quarter I'll do this or one year I'll
Mhm.
do that. And I'm just kind of adding to the business as I grow
Mhm.
it. But it's hard because you want to do
Mhm.
everything.
Mhm.
You want to sign up for everything and
Mhm.
and chase all the shiny objects.
Yes.
And it's just a distraction.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Well, congratulations to you on getting
Well,
to
thank
this
you.
1 year in your business. And you're right. I mean, I think that is very solid advice to all of the workingpreneurs out there, you know, who are listening, because you have to pick, as Cindy mentioned earlier, like the high value items that can actually help you to get to the place to where if your ultimate goal is to exit your day job, because I know some people maybe don't mind, you like what you do on the professional side and you like running your business. So, you know, for those who are maybe trying to like, you know, walk away and just have that flexibility of being your own boss and all that, listen to Cindy. She's done it. She's done it. She's thriving now. And I think like, and I think it's good. It's always good to for people to like hear from someone who's experienced it, right? And I think another thing you said, like being patient, and I think along with the patience is like just being consistent and showing up for yourself, and you know, sort of not letting, because something hasn't happened yet, not letting that get you down, but just saying like, you know what, I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to be consistent, and the time, I believe that, you know, the things will fall into place when they're supposed to fall into place for you.
Yeah, and it's about being consistent with the right things. And that's
Mhm.
another thing I work on in my coaching
Yeah.
program is, people say, well, I need more hours in the day. No, you don't. We all have 24 hours. If you had more hours, you'd use them the same way you're using the ones you have now. So you don't need more hours. You just need to do what matters in the time that you have.
Mhm.
So if you're wasting time on things that don't matter to you,
Mhm.
um, you're not going to reach your goals. And I think that it's better to consistently do a few important things in your business and not do a lot of other things than it
Mhm.
is to try to do it all halfway.
Exactly.
And then if you are trying to transition out, don't quit your job too soon. I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen people do that. I mean, I have a pension as a teacher. So I have, it's not nearly, it's about half of what I made as a teacher, but it gives me that little bit of a cushion.
Mhm.
And you don't want to just dive into the deep end because I've
Yeah.
heard people say that, if you hate your job, just quit your job and start, and you
No.
can take your laptop and go live on the beach. And you can't.
No.
Being an
Nope.
entrepreneur is hard work.
Yeah.
Hard
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So,
I'm definitely not a fan of people quitting a job. I always say don't quit a job without a job, and don't just quit a job to like if you're making money in your business, but plan an exit strategy. Like have an exit strategy so that you can walk into it more comfortably than like just on a whim saying, you know what, I'm gonna do it.
yeah.
No matter how
Yeah. I
many.
mean, and then we could go off on a big tangent with talking about business, but I mean, I think another important thing is just to think about serving people,
Mhm.
and not so much about the money. I mean, you do have to think about money. You have to know your numbers and you have to be smart, but you don't want to come across like you see dollar signs every time you talk to somebody.
Mhm.
I mean, I give away a lot of free things and free training and this and that. And people say, why do you do that? Well, for one thing, I think there's a lot of fake things out there on the internet and fake people and AI and all this. And so people need to know, like, and trust me. And that's the way
Mhm.
that they can do that. But also, I just like helping people.
Yeah.
I like it when I can encourage somebody and
Mhm.
they have that hope that
Mhm.
there's another way to live, that they don't have to be frazzled and stressed out,
Mhm.
living in chaos. And so that's fulfilling to me.
Yeah, I love that. All right, so we are going to talk about how people can work with you. If anybody's been listening or watching us today and they're saying, how can I connect to you, Cindy, and how can I work with you?
Yeah. Well, my website is cindybakercoaching.com. I'm on Instagram as CBC for Cindy Baker Coaching underscore Cindy Baker Coaching. And I have a free gift I'll give your
Ooh,
audience. You can put that in the show notes, but it's a free course to help you beat procrastination. And it's at waitnomore.net, waitnomore.net.
okay. We
And so
like
if
that.
they opt in for that, they'll get on my email list. And every Sunday, I send a bunch of free tips and
Mhm.
strategies and things like that. And then I do things like free master classes and things like that. And so they'll
Mhm.
hear about that from the email.
Awesome.
That's how they'll get the Zoom link. And of course, I do paid things too. I have a paid coaching program called Focus to Fortunes, like my book.
Mhm.
And there's some different levels in that. So just if they want to reach out through Instagram, I'll chat with them and see what they need, and lots of different things going on, courses, workshops.
Awesome. All
Yeah.
right, and where can they purchase your book?
So it's on Amazon. Evidently, there are like 8 million books with the word focus in them. And mine does not rise to the top. So it would be better to just search for my name, Cindy Baker.
Okay.
And there's a couple of other Cindy Bakers on Amazon, but you'd be able to find Focus to Fortunes pretty easily if you just search for Cindy Baker on Amazon.
Okay.
And I can give
Awesome.
you the link too. In fact, I have a free book bundle that they can download that goes with the book. I'll
Oh,
give you that
love
link.
it. Awesome. Look at
It's like
Cindy is out
it's like
here.
free Friday, but it's not
I
Friday.
I
But
know Cindy
the
is
point
out
is,
here just dropping free gifts for us today. We love it. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to talk three things with Cindy. I'm going to ask you three questions that just helps our audience get to know you a little bit better. First question is a two-part question. How do you start and end the day?
That's a good question. You mentioned something that I do in the morning, and that is I have a quiet time, I call it, where I get my coffee. I got my little mocha creamer I put in there, and I read my Bible and pray and journal a little bit.
Mhm.
And I try to do that before I look at my phone. I have been lately going reading through the Bible in a year. And so
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I've been getting into some like really confusing Old Testament things. So I'll grab my phone and look at the commentary. But then, of course, that's tempting
Yeah.
because then I'm like, oh, it's the email. So I try to just have no technology. And
Mhm.
I got a little dog who sits there on my
Oh.
feet while I'm doing that. And it's just a great time to get centered and connect, kind of get my marching orders before the
Hmm.
day starts.
Yeah.
Um, I do walk the dogs after that and have a little breakfast, and I'm kind of on a weight loss journey right now. I'm trying to eat healthier. And then I do what I tell my clients to do, or write down three things that I need to accomplish that day. Just
Mhm.
three. And I have a to-do list with way more than three on it,
Mhm.
but I take my top three really high impact things. So, that way, and I try to tackle them first. That way, if the rest of the day goes awry, then I've still won, because I got my three things
Mhm.
done.
Right.
And I look at
Yeah.
my planner, and then that's when I do check my email in the morning, and then in the middle of the day, at the end of the day, at night, four times. Um,
Okay.
I try not to check it in between, but sometimes I do. And then
Hmm.
at night, I try to look ahead to the next day.
Hmm.
I still use a written planner. I tried digital. It's not me. I like written. So I do that. And I can't stand to go to bed with dirty dishes in the sink. So I always clean the kitchen before I go to bed,
Nice.
which sounds silly, but
No, no. I
just
mean, I
like
don't think,
closure.
yeah, I don't think anybody should go to bed with dirty dishes. So I'm right there with you. All right. And second is what's a goal or an intention you've set for yourself this year?
Well, one of them was publishing the book, and that happened.
Yeah.
The big thing I'm working on this year is trying to book paid speaking gigs as a way to grow my business, but also, I want to get paid for my time, and that's not easy when you haven't been doing it for years and years. So I'm in a speaker training program right now, and I'm just doing a lot of reaching out, trying to find the
Hmm.
right decision maker, and entered a couple of speaking contests. I won one, first
Oh,
place.
congratulations.
So I'm in all those years of teaching, and then I did youth
Hmm.
ministry before that, has made me a pretty good speaker. So that's really my goal. I'd say now we're getting into, we've already finished the first quarter, so I'd like to get six
Hmm.
more paid speaking gigs in 2025.
All right. Nice.
Goal. Yeah.
And the last question is where are you currently finding inspiration?
Well, business inspiration, I'm in some networking groups. Like this morning, I just went to a local group of women in business called
Hmm.
901 Networking, because 901 is Memphis's area
Hmm.
code.
Hmm.
So we always call ourselves the 901, kind of trendy thing. And I'm in a speaker training program called the Elite Speakers Network, learning from that. And I read a lot of books. I just read a really good book by, I think it was probably the last one he wrote, by Zig Ziglar. What was it called? Better Than Good. And it was just, he told all these stories, inspirational stories about people. And it was just, I like that. I listen
Nice.
to podcasts and
Mhm.
sometimes Clubhouse, things like that.
Okay, awesome. All right. Well, Cindy, I want to thank you so much for sharing your time and all the tips with us today. And before I let you go, I'd like for you to leave the audience with three things you'd like for them to take away from our conversation.
Three things. Well, I guess the first is just, if you're listening to this, I want you to know you're not broken. You just need the right system that works with your brain. Especially if you have ADHD, you might have been told all your life that there's something wrong with you. There are so many people who are incredibly successful and actually attribute it to having ADHD. So that could actually be a superpower. So finding how to work with your brain is the key. I kind of alluded to this before, but you've got to pay attention to your energy cycles. When is your, and I don't mean weird energy, I mean actual physical
Yeah.
energy, not woo woo, but like, are you a morning person, a night person? And, when is your brain the sharpest? When is your mood up? And you want to do your high impact tasks during those times. Don't waste that peak time on checking email or something like that. And then I think I mentioned this already, but you don't need more hours in the day. You just need to do what matters in the hours that you have. Use the time that you have, because, I'm getting older and I realize time is short. And if you want to reach your goals, you're not going to reach your goals by scrolling, doom scrolling. I mean, you're really not. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I teach a method called the 90-minute sprint method. You do a sprint where you just focus on one thing, and then you can take a break. And then you're allowed to scroll, But you have to be in charge of that. You have to be intentional about your time.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
All great tips, Cindy. So I hope everyone out there listening and watching, like you still got time to write those down. All right. Well, thank you so much again. You can always come back and share with us in the future.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. All right, let's thank Cindy one more time for spending time with us and sharing all those great tips today. If you'd like to learn more about what she does and how you can work with her, make sure you check out the show notes and check out all those great freebies that she's given us, right? Like, they're awesome. All right, if you want to learn more about Glow Up Girl, you can visit the site at glowupgirl.com. You can sign up for our email newsletter. If you love this podcast, you must do that so that you can get more access to more insights, tools, and resources that will help you on this glow up journey. Also, you can check out our new merch. There's lots of merch there if you want to support the Glow Up Girl and you want to be a part of this community and show it. So make sure you do that. Also, if you are new to this community, I want to say welcome. I hope you keep coming back. If you've been here, thank you as always for all of the support. All right, if you are listening and not watching this on YouTube and you haven't checked out our YouTube, make sure you do. We are at Glow Up Girl. Go there, subscribe, like, do all the things. And always, if you're on a platform, you can rate or review that. Please do that. I love to read the reviews. It's so awesome. All the nice things you say about this show. Also, if you know people that I should be talking to, make sure you send me a DM on Instagram. We are Glow Up Girl there, or an email to hello@glowupgirl.com. And I think that's everything. It's a mouthful. All right. So thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedules, wherever you may be in the world, to listen. And I will see y'all next week. So until then, stay focused, fab, and glow up. Take care, everyone.